Episode 3, here we go. Let's get right into it. Starting up the episode, we go back to the Southlands / Mordor. We are reminded that Isildur's horse just won't listen to anyone and wants to go look for Isildur. Remember, they said horses and its riders have a bond that's unbreakable or something along those lines. I don't know about the lore stuff, and it's a nice sentiment, but this feels like a Rohirrim thing to me. I thought they were like the sea folk. Like, hey, the sea is always right and stuff like that. I think it's weird that they put so much emphasis on the sea training and everything in Season 1, but all we've seen them do has to do with the horses so far. Maybe we get something more with sea combat later on, but right now they just feel like Wish.com Rohirrim to me. Elendil lets the horsey go and we follow it around looking for Isildur. It makes its way through Mordor when suddenly, Orcs! They try to capture Horsey McHorseboy but fail spectacularly. They grab it trying to capture it, but it kicks one orc with its back hoofs into a tree branch, spiking and killing it. Damn, there wasn't even a twisting and gutting involved, only a stab. Maybe that horse should train some people to fight. Galloping away, it drags the other orc and crashes it into the tree stump and Horsey Boy escapes. Hooray! There's 2 orcs left and they stop, saying that this is the Black Forest. No one gets out of there alive. You have already named death forests that people won't come out of alive? Mordor has just been created. Why do you already have deadly forests like this? Not to mention that nothing should be alive after the pyroclastic wave, but that's another story. Mind you, this can't be longer than 3 to 4 days after the explosion, and they already named the specific place. Because the way this went is, mountain go boom, everyone escapes, then chill a bit in the camp before they leave for Numenor. Horsey is let go and makes his way back to Mordor, finds Isildur. It's funny because no matter which way you look at it, it doesn't check out. If I take my earlier shorter estimate, it doesn't work that well with what we have seen already. And if we take the longer and more likely time frame, Isildur should be screwed or in way worse shape than he already is. Considering some of the weirdness like the orcs naming a place the Black Forest in there, I would even say this has been weeks or longer because you don't name a spooky death forest after a couple of days. That's ridiculous. Horsey then finds a cave, and look at that, it's Isildur. Okay, let me tell you what happened, and then we shall talk about it in more detail. Horseheimers wakes up an unconscious Isildur who is trapped in spiderwebs. When he wakes up, the spiders hatch and look for a meal, so they go for Isildur and the orc who are taped to the walls. Isildur sees that the orc right in front of him has a knife. He grabs it, but then this orc wakes up. They scuffle, break the spiderwebs, and fall to the floor. One spider kills the orc, Isildur fights off that spider and makes his escape on Horsemeyer and survives. Okay, let's start all the way back when the pyroclastic wave happens. Isildur gets trapped in a burning building that Miriel and the other soldiers try to get him out of, but the house collapses and he very clearly gets buried by flaming wood and a ceiling. So somewhere in that time frame, which of course happened off screen, he either made it out of that burning building alive and pretty much unharmed, which is weird because the whole point of that other scene was that he was trapped and can't get out, or he was trapped but uninjured and then at some point someone dragged him out of there and he ended up in the cave. Considering there are orcs trapped in that cave as well, I have to assume that the spiders got him and orcs for a little snack for the children. But then again, no matter the estimate, Isildur has been webbed to that wall for easily 2 to 3 days. But when he wakes up, he just easily scuffles with an orc and fights off a spider. And even though he kinda loses against the orc, it would be more believable if he shouldn't be a burnt pile of flesh, which is also dehydrated and starving. Also, he wakes up, immediately sees that the spiders conveniently put an orc in front of him that has a dagger he can grab, but then because he loosened the web, that orc also wakes up inconveniently and they start to scuffle. But then, conveniently, the spiders get agitated and they kill that orc by making its head explode. What? Now Isildur has to fight off that spider. Yeets it, it vanishes for a couple of spooky seconds. It jump scares onto him, but he ends up stabbing it, and before the small spiders get to him, which have been patiently waiting for them to fight, he gets on horse Glumbo and rides outside escaping. Good lord, holy mother of things happening conveniently and inconveniently at the same time. I don't know if I should be mad or impressed on how much bullshit they keep coming up with. I'm sure we will get a perfectly fine explanation as to how he got here and how he survived. Right? Right? But for now we will observe what's going on in Numenor. Oh joy. The king has kicked the bucket and people have gathered to mourn, but also to plot political stuff. So if you're like plotting in the dark and politics like in House of the Dragon or Game of Thrones, go watch that because this sucks. Elendil pays his respects, but Aerion is like, you speak dead king's names but you can't say your own son's name? She also goes on to say that it's not his fault he died and someone else has the fault, of course implying that she blames the queen. Her father asks what she is trying to say, but also notices that she has something in mind that bothers her. When asking her, we see a flashback of her meeting the king before he died and him saying weird things and opened the secret door for her to find the Palantir. You know, in case you forgot. So we know she grabbed it and probably saw the wave vision and stuff, and now she thinks the queen region has fucked up everything for them. But before they continue their talk, Miriel arrives and Elendil rushes to her side to aid her. Miriel asks Elendil what he sees because, in case you forgot, she's blind now. He tells her that Pharazôn is sussy because he's always had an interest in the crown and is now plotting things and stuff. People are putting shells down and stuff as a form of saying goodbye or something. Seems to be a pretty basic cultural thing to respect the dead for them. Then a random looks at the queen and says, "Is that how we repay our fallen?" Miriel is about to say that this is just the beginning of the morning and she gets fucking slapped across the face. First, thanks, I shall use that footage from now on. Second, holy shit, that made me laugh out loud the first time it happened. That came out of nowhere. It was really funny. Anyway, so I get it. Angry and sad mother finds someone to blame and goes for the highest seat. I get that. Pretty simple stuff. But this is the king's funeral. I'm sure there will be one for the soldiers at some point, right? Most likely at sea on the boats, having a ceremony, saying how the sea is always right and all that stuff. At least that's what I believe is gonna happen. Because after this scene, it seems like they didn't even honor their fallen soldiers. And they never will, judging by her reaction. Again, it's hard to judge properly because I don't know how much time has passed. She consoles the lady and stops the guards from shanking her right away. Pretty lucky for that lady that Miriel doesn't have Adar's stabby orcs. Miriel is going through her dad's stuff to get the bracelet that functions as the key to the secret room. Pharazôn sneaks in and talks about his dead father and how he found it odd when he saw his half-emptied glass of wine and couldn't bring himself to get rid of it, but then remembered that his father didn't like wasting wine, so he drank it. Miriel's reaction is not, "Oh, what do you mean?" or "Is what you're telling me that I should take action even though my dad is gone?" Or any other way of, interacting with the thing that has just been said to you. She just straight up says, "What are you doing here?" Well, I guess we're done with this little anecdote. Miriel has been shittily hiding the bracelet behind her back, which he surely has seen, and also I don't think he even knows what it is. She's also blind, so she doesn't even know if she's properly hiding it. He could be next to her or moved in another way while he was talking, so she doesn't even know if she's hiding it properly, which is really funny. It would be great if he would be like, "I can see what you have there. What's this bracelet? Why are you hiding it?" Anyway, he brings 2 types of cloth for her to decide which color her gown should have. White symbolizes the past and red the future. He prefers the red because they have mourned enough and need to look to the future, but she wants the white to honor the fallen, like her dad. That's it, we already know he's plotting things, so I don't really have anything to add, so moving on. Pharazôn, Aerion, Belzagar, and Kamen have a pint, and have an exposition talk about how Pharazôn was almost chosen to rule in her stead, and that she is not fit to rule with her blindness. And if talking shit openly about the queen isn't suspicious enough, they also talk about how since her warmongering, there are some people that are willing to take him as a ruler again, trying to supplant the queen. Pharazôn points out that this wouldn't be nearly enough, just for Aerion to point out a theoretical thing that could turn many to enough. So this is the part where you leave and find a nice secluded place, maybe one of your fancy homes, or, anything else that isn't a bar that's full to the brim with people that can hear your treason. But no, he just says,
"There is nothing to fear at this table, my child."
Okay, but before they can leave, Valandil steps in and confronts them, clearly because he has been hearing all of this. So that's a problem for them, right? Right? Telling them that he bled with the queen on the battlefield, and she got blinded by jumping into an inferno trying to save Aerion's brother. So he won't be letting anyone talking any shit about the queen. Kamen is trying to be a big boy, but he's quickly silenced by Valandil because he's, a soldier and stronger and more handsome. So they separate peacefully. Okay, now you can leave and discuss your treasonous ideas and stuff, right? Also, Valandil just said that Miriel was blinded by trying to save Aerion's brother, so surely that's gonna make her rethink. No, they just order another ale and she just tells them anyway. Are you insane? You know someone just heard your shit, who is also a soldier, and is very likely gonna go and tell the captain about this. Whatever it is, you'll be in trouble. Not to talk about how all the other people in here just witnessed this shit.
What's up, y'all?
Suffered an infirmity. She's no longer fit to rule.
You weren't nearly chosen to rule in her stead. Much of this land still believes that yours was the better claim. And after Miriel's warmongering, many are ready to raise it again.
Many is hardly enough to supplant a queen.
Queen Regent, the blind one.
What if someone knew a way to turn many into enough?
Damn!
And Aerion, now that you heard that she tried to save your brother, she just goes ahead and tells him about how you found that Palantir and how you can use it to overthrow the current de facto ruler. Good job, good, very good. But at least Valandil knows and will tell people all about this, so they will be in trouble. Yeah, I'm sure they will be I'm sure they're gonna be in a lot of trouble. While Aerion is telling them about the Palantir and how they can use it, Miriel realizes the Palantir is gone, so she will be looking into someone else is gonna be looking into it, but she will tell someone to check out where that thing might have been gone. Because frankly, Aerion even being able to leave with that Palantir in the first place is nonsense. Someone would have seen her dragging a big fuck-off ball out of there. She even called for the guards before she did anything else. But I guess they just didn't hear that. No, well. In Mordor, the orcs are getting ready for war. And then the one orc asks if they really need to go to war. Because it's safe here, and they have a home, and Sauron is dead, so let's keep him dead. Oh, okay, that's a bit weird. Adar tells him that they will never be truly safe until they make sure Sauron really is no more. So they have been portraying orcs as making own decisions and going after Sauron even, and that already felt weird enough, but then they show the guy's wife and baby?
I don't really want this.
And he embraces them like they're a nice little 9-to-5 orc family?
What? What the fuck?
Here's the thing. I don't even think it's crazy to assume they have orc women and children. They have to reproduce in some way. With my very limited understanding of the lore, I think they reproduce like men and elves. Unlike the Uruk-hai in the trilogy, but even there I could not tell you the lore implications, but I think those were specifically bred to be stronger and better than normal Uruks, so they came out of ooze bubbles or whatever those were. The way I've always been shown the orcs is as this big evil monster flood faction that reproduces really quickly and has a more tribalistic culture. So yes, I do believe they have orc women and children. But they probably go around, find the first orc woman they can find, go to the breeding halls, and then be done with it. The portrayal here, where they have a nice little 9-to-5 orc family, is frankly ridiculous to me. Sure, you can make a story where the normally perceived only evil faction actually has also things to live for and families to attend to, and it can be a very interesting and intriguing story. But for me, this misses the mark quite heavily in terms of what the orcs have been shown to be, at least to me as a movie watcher not knowing the full lore. Even if I would accept this, they put this in here, and the way the show has been going so far, they won't do anything with this anyway. I wouldn't be surprised if this is the only time this ever comes up. Or they double dip and show us a scene where they spare the specific orc family later on and it will be very cringe. Like this. Anyway, Adar sent message to the trolls and one of them arrive, drops an orc head to his feet and asks where Sauron is. I guess they're kinda teamed up now. That's it, that's the scene. It's a big troll. Back to Eregion, Prince Durin has arrived and he gets the information that they have the means to help them reform of the Rings of Power, but of course they would need Mithril to make them. Celebrimbor tells them that just like the tree, the rings would heal their mountain. I think that's a bad start to negotiations. First thing you want to do. Hey, we heard you have trouble figuring out how to get to the surface and plant some food there. No problem, we have this full cart of fresh resources prepared just for you. Take this with you as a gift to your people and tell your king about this proposal. You could check it for shenanigans and stuff, but we know you are in a dire situation, so just take it. Even if you won't accept our offer, we won't demand anything in return. Boom! Instant plus points with Durin here, as well as with the people back in the mountains, because they're hungry and surely won't deny the food. This would also put pressure on the king to not be stubborn for the elven help if his people are off as bad as they claim. As we learn later, they're about to open the royal supply of food, so they surely need it. And the last time I checked, rings, even the magic ones, have not a lot of nutritional value. That would have been a smart move by the big smart deceiver man, but your smart characters can only be as smart as the writers, I'm afraid. Durin is suspicious of Anatar and doesn't believe he knows Elrond at all. Reason being that apparently Elrond has been speaking very highly of him, which is uncharacteristic of him. Also, Sauron/Anatar is kind of a rude shit here. He said that Elrond said that Durin is the wisest dwarf of them all. Or if that was a mistake and they should ask someone else. And later on, when Disa asks if they could have some time to think it over, he's about to say no. Disrespecting a dwarf has never been a great idea. The thing Anatar said here would be fine if it would be Elrond, as this was the way they have been talking to each other throughout the show. This random elf guy talking like that to Durin will not fly at all, and he should be happy he didn't just leave. And then putting pressure on him to decide right now is stupid because he's not the king. He can only deliver the message, so they have to wait one way or another. But Celebrimbor saves it and tells him that it's fine and they should think about it. Of course, the reason for Anatar to hurry them is of course that they're on a ticking clock, so he wants to hurry it along. But being aggressive like this won't help them at all, as being nice would have the exact same outcome. The two still need to travel back to the mountains first, tell the king, and then they still need to come back with the good news. Lots of time that has to pass anyway, and honestly, I don't know how any of it works out time-wise. Again, I'm pretty sure it doesn't. On the outside, Disa tells Durin that he needs to swallow his pride and talk to his dad. Even though she knows he hasn't been wrong, he's wrong now, and if he won't tell his father, she will. Again, just a nice normal exchange by the two. Again and again I just find myself listening to the dwarves without any sighing and moaning because they just act normally. It's just a nice change of pace. Back with Anatar and Celebrimbor, we see them have a talk. First thing that stood out to me is how casually Celebrimbor now talks to Anatar. Considering he bowed to him first time he saw him, you'd think he will talk to him with respect and reverence. But he has like a very casual tone with him. He basically goes like, "Give him time, old buddy boy, they'll come around." He even gives him a little tap on the shoulder. It seems very weird to me. Anatar goes on to say that they don't have the time, and he's about to reveal that the High King doesn't actually know, but he stops himself. Again saying, like last episode, it's not his place. But Celebrimbo tells him to speak plain. Sorry, Celebrimbo, we don't talk plain here in the Elven Kingdom. But Anatar tells him the High King forbade the making of any more rings, as he doesn't think the dwarves are worthy of them. Celebrimbo says screw this and starts writing a letter where he tells the king that he closes the forge and joins him in Linden as soon as possible. Also stating to Anatar that the High King can't tell him what to do in his own realm, that this is his time, which he has been working a lifetime for, and he won't have his moment taken away from him. Again, this is him being corrupted and deceived and all that stuff, but just goes so smoothly and easily for Sauron. It's really lame. Well, I hope you were wondering what Isildur is up to, because we go to him now. Isildur wanders around Mordor and finds a big puddle that he was about to drink from, but he sees the corpses of his brethren in there and decides to take their boots and sword. Kind of a smart move? I'm almost impressed. He wanders around some more and finds a raided camp or caravan of sorts and sees there is a saddle and just generally looks for resources. But then, oh no, he got stabbed by a new character. She's called Estrid. So Isildur survives the pyroclastic flow, a house falling on him, a scuffle with an orc and a spider without injury, and then he gets stabbed by a random lady called Estrid. I guess everyone's luck runs out eventually. Not that this will really affect him in any meaningful way. But I think it's funny that's the thing that got him. She apologizes and realizes he's Seafolk and wonders if he was going for the ridgeline to find his people. But she quickly adds that he probably missed them. He doesn't believe it at first, but he realizes quickly she has probably been there already. She continues and says she found a map that has the path marked to Pelargir, which leads Isildur to believe that his father must have led them all there. And so they go there. Again, incredible writing techniques like, he wanders through the wastelands and happens to find Astrid, who also happens to have a map to where Arondir and company are. Yeah, I'm definitely making the list of those in the last video of this season. Cut to the next scene, and they're in Pelargir. How long did it take? Couple of hours? It's still light outside. So not super long, I guess. Could have been a couple of days. Could have been a week. I don't know. 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 On the way, they are tricked by wildmen that are under Adar's banner. They seemingly already scattered around Middle-earth and have been annoying peeps everywhere. Again, this can't be this long ago from the eruption, so I don't know why they are so established already, but this is a tipsy-turvy fantasy time zone, so I have no clue. But I don't think this should be a thing, but here we are, it being a thing. Isildur checks on the guy and tries to give him some food, but he's evil! They punch him to the ground and steal the horse. But before they can kill Isildur, which conveniently hasn't happened yet because he only got hit by a stick by the one guy, Arondir appears for the rescue, woo! And he does these moves. I don't know, he flippy-doos and explodes out of the card. Why? He side flips behind the card and then explodes out of it like it's a booster ring from a video game. It's ridiculous. I hear that being agile these days just equates to flips and ridiculous anti-gravity stuff. Remember Legolas? We could tell he was nimble the way he fought without doing crazy flips. The craziest thing he did was sliding down a stairwell in Oliphant. Since after the original trilogy it just became kinda stupid with them yeeting themselves with swords or doing whatever the hell this is. Also again, how lucky that he just happened to be here to save them. Very cool. And he seems like he's in a bad mood and tells Isildur, who wants to save his horse, to deal with his stuff how it suits him as he has his own things to attend to. What is that, you ask? The death of Bronwyn.
Oh no! Anyway.
So that surprised me because they made a big deal of her being saved at the end. So apparently the actress took a step back from acting starting September 2022, saying that I knew it would take a very special project to convince me to once again split my time between my day job and my calling as an activist. Meaning while the episodes of season 2 were releasing, she was like, yeah, nah, I'm good. This show is not special enough for me to return. Good choice, actually. Yeah, good choice. So they probably didn't help the writing on top of, well, the writers not being able to write a story, but, you know. Going back to the mountains of Khazad-dûn, we see that the reserves are getting low and they need to open the royal reserves so people won't starve. Durin finally goes to talk to his father and tells him about the rings and that Celebrimbor claims they can help him with their dilemma, adding that he felt that it was his duty as a dwarf to tell him about his offer. When asked if that is all he came to talk about, he says no. He tells us that they are both stubborn and proud, but he was wrong to disrespect him and that he is sorry. He ends the conversation by telling him that he doesn't really trust those rings and their power and has been wondering if his father was right about not wanting to help the elves. Or his friend. Again, I can only emphasize that the conversations between the dwarven characters feel like the most normal ones in the whole show, and I've been enjoying them for being, well, normal. Makes me long for a really good dwarven show in the Lord of the Rings setting. I think it could be a banger, man. But I have to wonder about Durin. The Prince Durin. So either he's just taking the L willingly, even though he doesn't believe in it, in order to get his father to fix the Ram's problems, or they made Durin change his mind off screen, which would be a Ring of Power staple, but also really shit because he still felt very strongly about his position in the last scene. Gotta see what happens next, but I'm suspicious. I also have to ask, did you guys bring any food on the way here? Did you ask the elves to prep some carts of food to help them out? I don't think they did, because again, the writers just don't seem to think about this kind of stuff. Are there any merchants that went outside and went to grab some supplies from another city or anything? It seems like you can just leave whenever you want. And this is a big city with lots of people, but this is just ignored because we only focus on these main characters that teleport back and forth between places. Theo patches up Isildur's stab wound and asks Theo if he learned that from his mother and asks what happened. Arondir explains that he failed to stop Adar and protect Bronwyn, and then he says that
There is a foulness in orc arrows, not easily forgotten by human flesh.
oh, can you just say they're poisoned or something? Again with the stupid fancy schmancy talk, I just can't deal with it anymore, it's so annoying, God. Well, now that we got that out of the way and know why she's dead, he tells Isildur he is happy to see him, and he would love to share that news with his father. He makes sure to tell him that he wasn't abandoned and that his family will be whole again. Pretty nice of him. Funny part is that Theo is right there and looks at him like, dude, what the fuck? Too soon. We just burned her. We cut away, and in the next scene, Arondir tries to talk to Theo and tells him about Beleriand, an old elf realm he was born in. Apparently it fell after some battle with Morgoth, and he felt anger that he couldn't stop him, but he mostly felt anger towards himself. So he tells Theo to not dwell on the anger, as it's gonna drink you dry, but he's obviously ticked off and angry and sad about everything that happened. I think the show might be confused because not being able to fulfilling your duty does not equate to survivor's guilt. Arondir is a trained soldier that fought Morgoth and lost a battle and thinks this sucks and they could have maybe protected Beleriand better, and so he blames himself for not trying hard enough. Theo, on the other hand, is a child that saved his mother by giving them the evil Sauron key, but it wasn't enough, and now he is alive and she isn't. He's very clearly suffering from survivor's guilt. Arondir is not. At least not according to this example. Of course Arondir must have that to some degree as well, because I'm sure he lost lots of comrades in that battle, but the things he says here do not fit with what Theo is currently going through, as we will very soon learn when he will listen to Isildur's conversation. Theo then tells him that he's not his dad and that everything he was to him is in ashes now, and that they don't need to speak again. Also, one other thing, I'm pretty sure they added the splooshing sound of the bucket later on. The way that Theo handles those buckets feel like they're empty, so I don't know, that was kind of funny. We get some small talk between Isildur and Theo, where Isildur tells him that this aqueduct is made by men, and when Theo said that men can't build these things, he says that Numenor they can, and how epic it is over there. When asked why he came here, he tells him that he heard there are grander things here in Middle-earth, and chuckles. I will be charitable here and assume he's trying to make some small talk and loosen the tension, because that is not why you are here. You came here as part of an army and prove yourself as worthy to your dad, and because of something else we will learn shortly. Theo wonders if he really wants his horse back and tells Isildur to meet him at Moonrise and bring a sword. Theo wants to kill some people, baby! Anyway, traumatized obsession with Isildur and Estrid. Isildur says that his mother drowned because she went to save him after getting caught in the riptide. At home nobody knows, and ever since then he tried to do something special to prove that he deserves to still be alive because of her. Well, get over it, Isildur, because the sea is always right. Either his dad already knows that this was the case, which would explain why he's a bit of a dick to his son, you know, besides him being a dumbass shit, or this is going to be a big bombshell and he's going to throw him into the sea as soon as he hears that. By the way, remember the weird voices he heard earlier in season 1? I guess that was just his mind, and he was imagining hearing his mom and nothing special magical? Or it will be something magical, we just never know in the show. Estrid goes on to reveal that she's not as strong as he might think, obviously implying that she agreed to bow to Adar in order to survive. I don't know how true that is though, because he seems to also force people into enslavement, so I don't really blame her too much for that. We also see her heating up a blade in order for her to brand over the branding she got so people won't know. From this conversation it seems like she's ashamed, but it also could mean she wants to hide something and she's some crazy spy lady for Adar. I don't know, I think there might be lots of people coming here now and in the future that were just able to escape after they have been branded. Especially when there are these wild men that just roam the place. It's not unlikely that there have some bowed and ran away as soon as they got released into the wilds. Also, what about the alleged released Southlanders? I don't know if Adar actually did that, but I have to assume they run around with brandings as well. Makes me wonder if Arondir just killed them all on sight or something. That would be kinda funny. Actually, there would be some good drama they could use where he almost kills someone that escaped, which makes him realize they need to put up a system to figure out who is an escapee and who is trying to infiltrate. Damn you, show, even when I'm trying to make fun of you, I come up with better ideas for your stories. But back to the scene, Theo has been overhearing them and gets sad because he feels the same way with his current Survivor's Guild. In case you haven't figured that out by now, don't worry, the show writers think you're babies, and let Astra tell you right before Theo arrives.
It's hard not to blame myself
For?
being alive.
Rings of Power is as subtle as a brick to the face. Theo leads Isildur to the wildmen that have his horse. I guess they just stay in the same place and somehow Theo knows where. Why he knows that? I don't know. I feel like he has just been working in the settlement and not gone outside really, but here we are. It was off-screen Theo, so anything could have happened. He could have learned to fly off-screen and the show would just pretend it happened. Isildur sneaks his way towards Horseman McGallop, and the neighing attracts the wildmen. But before they arrive, Theo confronts them asking to share their fire. They get sassy, and when he shows his mark, they obviously point out that this is not really Adar's brand. Theo says that this brand means more than theirs, as he has done more for Adar than they ever could. Probably meaning that he gave him the sword and stuff. They're like, nah, are you here to attack us? Him alone? Probably not. If you think it's an ambush, you might want to stop focusing only on him and turn around, spread out and stuff, you know, trying to survive and stuff like that. But then an axe comes flying and people get grabbed away into the trees. They make wooden noises and stuff and oh no, it's ants, isn't it? Of course they would have ants. Honestly, I don't know if that makes any sense, but yeah, there's ants. Unless it's gonna be wish ants and they will call them tree foots or something. Theo's about to be grabbed as well and screams for Isildur, who has been galloping away this whole time, I assume, but still hears Theo, I guess? He stops and screams for Theo, but we don't start seeing him move towards his voice with his horse.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
But it makes me wonder what their game plan was, because the way Isildur just speeds off makes me believe he didn't know Theo is still there, and they may be meant to meet up back at the settlement. But that doesn't check out with what we've seen earlier, where he just looked at Theo and then just left with the horse. So I don't know what we're going for here. It kind of looks like he's leaving Theo behind, and that's not very heroic if you ask me. But then I wonder what Theo's plan was. Did he think he can take them all by himself or something? Is that the special thing he wants to do? Kill a couple of wild men? What a dumbass, even considering he's young. I don't see him just walking in there like that after seeing how many there are. Back in Numenor, the coronation for the queen is happening, and she's wearing white, but Pharazôn is wearing red. It's red!
Red? That's red.
Someone calls her the Queen of Lies, and another that she's unfit to rule. But she goes on to say that their sorrow is like a prayer in these halls, and if they need to speak out, they should wonder if it's for the kingdom, themselves, or the ones they already buried. Which prompts Aerion to scream, "For Isildur!" and revealing the Palantir and saying that this is the artifact she has been counseled by. Lots of murmurs and stuff, and, what's his name again? Elendil. Man, the Amazon name tags are so useful during the episode. I keep forgetting the names of characters because I'm A, a dumbass, and B, I don't care about these dumbass characters. Elendil screams for silence and Aerion drops the Palantir, which makes it roll in the middle of the room. Pharazôn says that it's lies and they should take and destroy it, but Miriel says no, this Palantir is mine. Okay, a couple of things. 1. Valandil apparently has not told anyone about the treason that happened earlier in the episode to try and warn Elendil and the Queen that this might happen. 2. Aerion legit did not even think about not doing this after hearing that the Queen lost her eyesight while trying to save her brother. Which makes you a horrible person for not even considering the option that you are wrong. 3. Guards in Numenor suck balls and they keep letting people in that heckle the Queen during official ceremonies. 4. What exactly was the plan when she would have denied it? Or just wouldn't have said anything to deal with it later? Aerion would have gotten locked up, and then you start plan B of your epic plan? I guess Pharazôn predicted that she would admit it because she's basically too honest? I don't know. Anyway, people are getting angry that she used an elven artifact and shit gets chaotic. People are throwing shit at the Queen, guards are kicking people, it's pandemonium. Elendil tries to grab the Palantir but gets yeeted, so I guess he has now seen the vision as well? Whatever that's gonna mean for him. Also, the guards won't let their captain through to the Queen, but this random dumb shit somehow gets past, which is hilarious. Look at him and his dumb face. But then an eagle appears. This is considered a good omen during the coronation. At least that's what they told us, I don't know why. Pharazôn, realizing this is his chance, goes up to the eagle and it doesn't get too upset, and his homie Belzagar starts yelling, "Pharazôn! Pharazôn!" and people join in, and that apparently makes him the new ruler. So when you're close enough to the eagle, it doesn't get too upset and people start chanting for you. That's how you get to be king or queen? I don't know, not a great way to determine your ruler, I think. Imagine that guy way closer to the eagle and was like, "Yo, look, it's Frank! 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 Frank!" Anyway, big tragic. Miriel is out of the race, and Pharazôn is the future. Because he's red. Look, he even has eagle wings soaring towards the future. Or maybe towards doom. And to wrap up the episode, X amount of time has passed and the dwarves brought Mithril to Celebrimbor to make rings for them, but Sauron touches them with evil music this time. So they're proper corrupted by him, I guess. Well, with this information I'm pretty much convinced that the Rings of Power are just straight up fine. Obviously from a meta-knowledge standpoint we know they will stay around with the elves, but they try so hard to give us the feeling that they're bad. LMAO, Elrond you fool, we might have all talked and behaved like crazy corrupted people, but it was all fine, dude. The dwarves just teleport back and forth between Eregion and Khazad-dûm in this episode, meaning a bunch of time has passed. Makes you wonder how far the elves are and where they are currently on their way to Eregion. And with this, episode 3 is in the books. Isildur magically surviving and ending up in that cave is ridiculous and really, really hard to justify. They didn't even give us any flashbacks or whatever trying to tell us what happened, and considering where he is now in the story, I don't think we will get one. We just have to accept this happened and that's it. I pretty much gave up on figuring out the time frames and where people are in accordance to the story. It's mega confusing and I'm pretty sure it doesn't line up at all. So many indicators that just overlap with each other and won't fit makes it an absolute mess. Of course the ridiculous orc family business can burn in hell. Even in my most charitable scenario I just don't see that happen ever. Durin possibly changed his mind on the way back home off screen, but could also just telling his father what he needs to hear in order to save the dwarves. I'll be looking out for that one because that's a bit suspicious. But still, always happy to see Durin and his father talk. They were my favorites in season 1 as well. They seem to have the most normal conversations as previously mentioned. There's no time to waste, I will go back to the mines to work on episode 4. I know I'm behind, but you know, being a wage slave I can only spend so much time every day unfortunately. Okay, bye!